YouTube, it's Ryan Phillips. Look what we got here. All new for us, the Carbon Arcus from Hobby King Durafly. This thing is an F3A style formation flyer, and we're gonna show you what it can do right now. So stay tuned. All right, guys, take off flaps. Here we go. We'll see how this thing does. Got a nice foggy morning out of the flaps. Yes, we did set up flaperons. We're gonna see how this plane does. So far, it feels really solid. We're about 30–40% throttle. Formation flying planes are designed to do very specific aerobatic maneuvering and not necessarily 3D, although I always tend to use them to do things that look like 3D. So far, very docile, very easy to fly. And the fog is really making it interesting and yet probably hard to film. I would say for now, it feels pretty dang rock solid. Upside down, super symmetrical. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention 2200 4S. This one happens to be a China Hobby Lines. It's a 30C pack. We have tons of punch. We're good with this one. I was thinking we were gonna need to use our Spectrum Smart Pack in 50C to keep this thing going. I haven't exceeded 50% throttle to date. Let's see if we can get a hammerhead out of it. No, yeah, you can, but I understand that's probably not gonna be an F3A thing. And that's the thing, I don't fly F3As, so I'm not sure exactly what to do in terms of a pattern, but I can tell you right now, the thing is crispy, it's easy to fly. With AS3X Plus, it's locked in. And that fog is really limiting my flight window. So the Carbon Arcus, so far my thoughts are impressed with how well it is. It feels very light on its feet. And yes, the AS3X Plus has it locked in. We use an AR630 in this, and it's CG'd out perfect, right with the strap where you would expect it to be, because there's only pretty much one spot you can put the battery in this plane. You don't normally see me doing low passes like that, guys, because I don't do it. I just don't do crazy stuff close to the ground because I'm not that good of a pilot. And if you're not, you could probably handle this plane too. So I guess what I'm gonna say is, Hobby King, the build went better than expected. The plane looks better than expected in the air, and it's performing better than expected. So I guess that would be a victory. Now, does that mean it's everything to everybody? I don't know. I'm not an F3A pilot here. Okay, full throttle now. One complaint is the prop feels and sounds a little bit out of balance. Not a big deal, something that can be fixed relatively easy. Oh, and yeah, we set up takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Let's see how that works real quick, just so you guys can get a feel for it. Again, not sure that that's gonna have any general impact on F3A flyers, but here we go. So we're gonna do flaps. You can see them, all four of them are down. Still plenty good roll authority. We went down to about 85% and we kicked our ailerons up to, I think, 125%. Check out the unbox build radio setup to see how that went. It definitely does slow down the plane, makes it easy. But I gotta say this, for landings, okay, so now I'm out of the, good Lord, it's gonna disappear on me, isn't it? I love that I can use the rudder to just redirect my flight and stay more or less flat. Okay, I got 1 minute left on our 5. We do have a voltage alarm. As you can see, nice flat turns. Had to do a little bit of a jank there at the end. Didn't want to get into the trees. It's a little bit less poppy than I expected. So if you want to get out of a hole quick, it's maybe not glorious, but I can definitely say that it feels really good. I think the wheel pants are the noise I'm hearing, by the way. They must be vibrating. Yes, we did set up thrust reverse too. I was looking for an opportunity to showcase it, and that's it, guys. The thrust reverse works really nice. I'm not gonna say that you can do it when you're in full throttle, so let's see what it does in flight now. Okay, so we're gonna do this with no flaps just to show you. In fact, we'll do a little grass hops because I think the gear will be fine for this. Okay, from full stop, full up elevator, that's our 5-minute timer. Getting into the throttle hard, oh yeah, no problem getting it out of the grass. So if you guys fly from a grass strip, this plane will do you right, okay? But you guys can hear that vibration now. Sounds like some sort of a meat slicer that needs to be repaired. Goodness gracious, that fog is so thick over there. I don't want to lose sight of the plane. Okay, so now I'm gonna try thrust reverse midair if I can get to it, because I don't think it's gonna switch, guys. So we'll just go up here a safe distance up. There's thrust reverse. And there's forward thrust. Okay, so the problem you have with that is because once you reverse thrust, it doesn't always let you right back, okay? So I would suggest if you wanna do F3A flying with a little 3D twist in it, I wouldn't maybe depend wholly on the thrust reverse, but the thrust reverse sure does make it easy to actually bring that thing down quick. I'm curious to see how much you could slow it down in a downhill descent, but I'm just afraid I'm gonna get stuck not getting it back. Let's try. Okay, so we're up there a little bit. Thrust reverse. You can slow yourself down, but really the flaps work just as good, if not better. And when I say flaps, guys, make no mistake, we're talking flaperons. And since it's a near full length wing, I actually have no complaints with the flaperons. I mean, look, you can still do these nice flat turns without any problems. So I gotta say, Durafly, you're really bringing up your game. This thing is really nice. I gotta admit, and I kind of said this right when we opened up the box, I'm not an F3A flyer. And so it's just not in my immediate area of interest. And so sometimes when we do planes on Brian Phillips RC, I don't want that to come across as somehow the plane is bad, because I think this plane is really dang good. We have done at least one other F3A plane, and that was some FMS offering, right? Yeah. Had that goofy wing on the top, so like another stabilizer. But I gotta say, the thing feels absolutely fantastic. I haven't touched my gain knob. Oh, and by the way, we did set this up with safe, so I'm gonna get into a weird attitude, and then I'm gonna just turn on safe. There it is. So we have safe on now, and as you can see, camera crew's gonna help me with this. As you can see, when you let go of the sticks, the plane just snaps to level flight. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to back to AS3X mode. And by the way, I gotta say, the AS3X has this thing feeling fantastic, but it is admittedly very light winds today. That's part of the reason why we're flying in the fog. Let's slip it. Can you slip this plane? Yes, you can. Okay, no thrust reverse. Look how glorious that is, guys. And I gotta say, the ground handling, okay, giving a little bit of throttle just so I don't hit that edge and get stuck. This thing does really nice on landings. I remember the other F3A offering that we reviewed. We had a heck of a time with it on the ground. It just really did not perform well. If I remember right, it was one of those where you'd bounce it in and it was really tough to get to land and have a smooth landing. These landing gear are super soft. But we also noticed on the Yak 11, throttle cuts on by the way, and we are at 3 minutes 45 past 5. Okay, a little bit of downtime to talk, but the landing gear doors on the Yak 11 actually hold the end of the pin that the landing gears stick onto, okay? So because of that, if your gear door get whacked, then your wheel can come out. So we're gonna fly a little bit more. I just thought that was kind of hokey, but I gotta say, the landing gear assemblies on these, the only thing I was feeling like was lacking was just, it would have been nice to have a washer that went between the inner wheel pants and the wheel itself. But it was a really easy assembly other than forcing, I can't remember if it was the left or the right, but it was one of the two sides. We had a little bit of rustiness or like kind of like a rough cut on the tip of the shaft, the prop shaft, or not the prop shaft, but the axle shaft. What am I trying to say? It's not an axle shaft. So guys, I gotta say, I'm really actually quite impressed by this plane. Like I said, I don't claim to be something I'm not here on Brian Phillips RC. I know that we do a wide variety of planes, and a lot of you guys come here because you're brand new to the hobby and you just need help, okay? Or you were in the hobby and you just need some help getting started back to it, okay? We love helping people in that way, right? So if you're here with us because you're just a returning pilot and you need a little bit of help getting back on top of the horse, we're gonna help you with that. And if you're brand new to the hobby and you're trying to decide if this plane is the right plane for you, I would say it's actually not near as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It's not hard to fly. Is it a trainer? No, but does it fly a little bit like a trainer? Kinda, yeah. And now I'm kicking myself for having said what I said in the unbox because I said, you know, this is definitely not gonna be good for a beginner. That's our voltage alarm. I hope you guys can hear it. So we got about 10 minutes of flight time on 2200 4S, not too bad. I'm gonna see if I can get the landing here. If not, we'll go around. We got the wind at our back, but it's very, very light. 3-wheel this time. And we'll stop it right where we want it. Okay, throttle cuts on. Guys, thoughts about this plane are that it's really actually a lot better than I thought. We got about 6 minutes, 17, 18, 19, 20 in case the exposure is bad. I'm gonna clear that to 5. So that means we had about 10 minutes of good, solid, quality flight time. And I gotta say, it's not especially warm, it's not especially cold. Right now, it's probably mid-30s and a little bit of precipitation that's showing up as fog. Very light. Let's see if we iced. You can see our flaps here. Throttle cut is on, by the way, full disclosure. Look at this. Look how wet it is. That is crazy. Super wet. We've also iced our wings before, which is really fun. Okay, so now you can see how much deflection I did. And our correction direction was either correct or it was just that AS3X Plus is so dang good. Look at all the water on the bottom wing. Look at all those little channels of water. That's so cool. Look at this. Can you see that from your angle? Yeah. That is so neat. I didn't want to wipe it off before you guys saw it, but it's super fun to fly. You know, this is a type of flight experience when a plane can change your mind about a whole aspect of the hobby. Those are the planes that really wake up my RC spirit, okay? Because these planes, let's be honest, we've done so many of them that a lot of them are a lot the same. I still get excited about them because I'm weird, but a lot of you guys may not, okay? This thing really woke something up in me that I didn't have before because it flies so dang good. And it reminds me of a couple of planes we did in recent vintage, and they were planes that maybe weren't like real high on my wish list, but then I got them and I flew them and I was like, wow. And I'm thinking of the CJ6 right now, okay? And it's just surprising because after you have like 400 planes, you would think you have to have a better one to enjoy the experience. Well, and I'm not saying that this is somehow inferior to any other plane we've done, but it's just an interesting aspect of the hobby as you get deeper and deeper into it. There's always something new and exciting to learn about yourself as a pilot and about the technology and the way that it works. And you guys see this rotary knob, it's at 50%. I didn't touch my gains. The AS3X Plus was perfect. I mean, it was just like rock solid. I might have probably could have used a click of trim on the elevator, okay? And I never did that because I just kind of wanted to say I didn't give it a click of elevator trim, which is pretty cool, guys. So this plane, super surprised, okay? I gotta say, when I get a Hobby King plane, we started in Hobby King, we sort of walked away from Hobby King for a long time, not because it was more project planes. And we got into planes that were a little bit more like refined out of the box, okay? Now that's not to beat them up. It's not like we're talking dyno or anything. We're just talking, you have to work a little harder to build them. Sometimes you have to install like more rods and stuff. These are all ball link connections. See this? That's not a ball link connection, just to be clear, but it is what you usually do for a secondary aileron on a biplane. But like on the rudder and the elevator, we've got high quality metal gear servos, all around. We've got a good motor. We've got a good 50 amp ESC that gives us thrust reverse. It actually works reliably. I'm just thinking they really kind of did all the things we wanted. I was afraid this was going to do, you know, too much flexiness, but by the time you get all this stuff together, it actually did really dang good. So Durafly, Hobby King, thanks for making some really well-needed improvements and doing a great job of it. I gotta say, this plane really checks all the boxes. And I was not expecting that. I was expecting this to be a very mediocre experience, but I found myself not only really enjoying it, but it was also less painful to put together than I thought it was gonna be. And then sometimes biplanes are just terrible to put together because it's just kind of hard to get the geometry right, or it's really hard to load the battery. And that's one thing that this plane still suffers with a little bit, and that is it's kind of hard to load the battery, but it's not near as bad as some old choices, okay? So 2200, 4S, 30C discharge, that's a China Hobby line. And by the way, you can see we marked the CG on the top, a little bit unusual, but it's hard to see on the bottom of the wing. So I just wanted to show you guys this. That's perfect. I mean, it's like, you don't need to do anything weird. I love planes like that. Now, I had fully intended to do a second flight with this battery, but I don't even think we need to. You've seen what it does. It does a great job of what it does. This battery would give it a little bit more pop and a little bit more punch, and that might get you out of the hole, and it might just kind of tip the scales just a little bit. Now, this is a slightly heavier, no, they're actually really dang close. Didn't we measure them once? They're almost exactly the same weight as those China Hobby lines, but these are 50C packs. Now, of course, you can get these in 30C too, it'd be fine. But the thing is, the 50C is gonna be quite superior, but I can't plug a voltage alarm into a Gen 2 pack. And so since I didn't use a 637T and run that goofy red wire with the micro PH wire back so I could get pack telemetry, I said, I don't wanna deal with all that in this tight space. That was a wise decision. So do you guys wanna know where my AR630 is? Of course, the AR630 is an end pin. It's right there. It's tucked in there. And I can tell you this, there is not much room in there, even for the 630. So if you're thinking about using a 631 or a 637, the 637 is probably the ticket. It's more expensive. You'll get that additional feature. So if you wanna just use smart packs, you'll get that pack telemetry back. But the thing is, you gotta be careful about those antennas because you've got the dual diversity antennas. This one has the internal antennas, so you're protected from damage if you use the 630. And we just glue ours in. So check out the unbox build radio setup if you need any little bit of help on how to make this thing come out of the box and go into the air, okay? Now, again, as I was saying earlier, I was a little bit disappointed in my initial, gut instinct that this would not be a good beginner plane. Because I gotta say, it actually wouldn't be a terrible beginner plane. Is it the best one? No, by no measure, but it's also not a terrible first plane. So like if you're into this, if you think it looks super fun and sporty and you wanna try this as a first plane, you could probably do it. It's relatively easy to land. I also think it's gonna be somewhat forgiving on landings because it's gonna kind of catch itself with that biplane. Just keep in mind, I don't care what first plane it is, you're gonna beat the heck out of it. Okay, so this does have really well-constructed contact points all over the place, and that helps to hold it together. And it is a little bit wiggly, which I was concerned about. It did not manifest at all in the air, not even a little bit, okay? And that's on the heels of one of our most stiff and dense foam planes we've ever flown with a brand new higher density foam from a competitive offering, okay? So let's just put it this way. If you're brand new and you want to try this, maybe. But I'm gonna still suggest that you start with a high wing trainer, keep things simple. You want to improve your circumstances to the point where you're gonna have an almost guaranteed victory. Because here on Brian Phillips RC, we try to give good advice for beginners and bring people up to speed just as quick as possible. And it seems counterintuitive that the 3-hour video would be just as quick as possible. But remember guys, if you've been in the hobby 15 years ago, did you spend 3 hours talking and thinking and reading manuals and looking at magazines and things like that and reading articles? Yeah, I think you did. My expectation is the average guy that's returning to the hobby could probably watch 3 or 4 unbox build radio setups. You've committed maybe 10 hours of your time, okay? That's a long time, I get it. But you'll get almost all the way up to speed in that, and you probably won't even need me anymore. It's gonna be painful for me because you're gonna leave. But that's really what we want. We want to grow this hobby. We want to get people flying. We want to help you guys get the right stuff that has all the features that the Chinese people told you it had. And they don't always, believe me. But I still like the ones that suck. So we're here to help you parse through the millions of choices online that are mostly garbage and get some that aren't, which is really cool. And so guys, Durafly, super impressed with this, super impressed with the Yak 11. Are they imperfect? Yes, every plane is imperfect that we've ever done, even the most perfect ones, okay? What's one imperfection I can tell you about this? It is hard to load a battery. You're not gonna change that with a thin battery or a thin battery bay, okay? It's always gonna be kind of awkward, okay? But they've done everything they could to make it easy. And I can tell you this, from 10 years ago till now, or 9.5 years ago till now, this is still infinitely easier than what we were getting back in the day, okay? Secondly, no LEDs. I kind of understand why they didn't on the top wing, but on the bottom wing, really, it would be super nice to see that. The good news is you watch Brian Phillips RC, so if you want to see how to install LEDs, just go back and watch one of our old videos. We used to install LEDs all the time. 2 things happened. 1, we had 4 kids. 2, I got older and lazier. 3, we got like 350 more planes, okay? I ran out of time to do that for every plane, okay? So back when we were operating on a smaller budget, from broke young people to more advanced, older people that are also lazier, and having a camera crew that gets dragged into every project, it sort of dissuaded me from doing as many of those. I used to wear a helmet that held my cell phone. It was the most uncomfortable thing ever. Gave me a neck ache every time I did it, but you guys ate it up and it was fun, and we helped to build an awesome rapport with our audience. So if you want to see how to put LEDs on here, I'll give you the Cliff's Notes in 1 minute or less. Pull this servo out of the pocket, take this tape, pull it back. Once you do that, you can cut 2 of the wires, the red and the brown. You can actually wrap the cable around, cut them at 2 different spots about 1/4 inch from each other. Wrap around a motor winding wire, you take and you strip off the little bit of wax or whatever it is coating on the end. You can use a lighter to melt it off, wrap it around there, put a drip of solder, put some CA over it, and then do the other wire. And then run 2 of those wires. You can stick them right on the bottom of the wing out here, and then you just solder it to your LED and you put it wherever you want it, okay? It's literally that easy, and when I say that easy, it's a huge pain in the butt. But it's not that hard, because you've already got a current limited power supply right here. And no, you're not gonna overdrive the circuit with 2 LEDs, or maybe even 3, because look, you got one back here, and they're serviceable. Screws, pull this out, steal some power, run back here, jump over that. Motor winding wire, by the way, is not very flexy, so you might need to come down here and go like that. And if you don't know what motor winding wire is, just look it up and you'll see what motor winding wire is. It's super, super, super thin wire. It's very light and it looks like copper with a tiny little bit of coating on it. And that way you can wind it around a motor. So anyway, that's how I would do it if I was doing it on this plane. It would bring, or you could just go buy an LED kit. We do have LED kits on our supplies tab at brianphillipsrc.com. And you could just buy that and then you just have to route your cables back and plug it into your receiver. But good luck with that, guys. This thing is packed. By the way, this is where everything enters right here. So this comes out and it drops out the bottom, just like most conventional planes. But in order to do that, you got to disassemble the, practically the whole wing. So, all right, guys, awesome job, Durafly. Hard to come up with complaints on planes that are really good. And I would say this is really good, okay? All right, if you want to support Brian Phillips RC, thanks for watching. First of all, smash the like button. Don't forget to click the bell when you are subscribing, because you're going to get notified of all the new and exciting content that hasn't been released. But if you want to watch stuff that's been released right now, check out bprc.me. That's our short link for brianphillipsrc.com. You can go to either one, doesn't matter, same place. And then just sort by type, and you can find a competitive offering that you like better than this if you're not into this. When you do find something you can't live without, check the links in the video description below or the links on bprc.me, and you can buy them there, or you can click on the video and watch the build and see how much we're frustrated and hollering at each other or whatever it happened to be, because that'll help you to gauge whether or not you want to put up with that nonsense, okay? That's why we do it. Or if you need help. Then the second thing you can do to help us would be one of these funding things. We've got Patreon, PayPal, YouTube super thanks and YouTube members. So Patreon is monthly and YouTube members are monthly. Thanks for being monthly supporters if you are. We've got quite a few of you out there doing that now, and we really appreciate it. Guys, if you're supporting us on a monthly basis and you're not supporting us by buying planes from the links, I would highly encourage you, just buy the planes. That's the easiest way to support us. You're gonna be buying planes anyway. You're gonna be buying batteries. You're gonna be buying receivers. You're gonna be buying transmitters. We got links to all this stuff. We will help you get in the air and you'll help us in return. And then as we fund this giant, bloated, huge project over here, which is gonna be the damn gift shop on the damn runway, which is gonna be over the course of probably 3 years, then you'll be helping to fund all that, which is gonna be painfully expensive. And we are just coming to terms with it because we've been dealing with quotes from all of the vendors and specialists. And it's scary because it's a lot. But we are super excited and I love aviation and we're gonna make this thing happen with your help. All right, guys? That's all we got for you today. Durafly, good job. Hobby King, keep up the good work. I can't wait to see what you got next for us because this plane was way outside of my area of expectation, which was kind of over there, and you guys were way over here. This thing did great. If you guys want a good plane, I think you'll enjoy this. Are there better F3As? I don't know. I've only done 2 of them, but I can tell you this, I really enjoyed flying it. I think you could do patterns really nicely with this. I just don't know what the patterns are. So if you guys know what the patterns are, leave them in the comments below. That'll be fun. And I'll read them. Come back for more. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips, the Carbon Arcus 1 meter from Hobby King. This is a Durafly product we're gonna fly right now. It is an F3A plane. I don't do F3A. Try not to crucify me in the comments because I don't know all the ins and outs, but I do know this. It is designed to do formations and flights and different things and I don't know, really precision aerobatics. And I think it's gonna do a good job. So 4S, 2200, 50C Smart Pack, and we're gonna fly right now. Oh, by the way, I also set that up, which is kind of cool. Thrust reverse and takeoff flaps. Here we go, guys. Out of the flaps. About 50% throttle for the takeoff there. We're about 30 now, relax down. Look how nice this is. I gotta check for manned aircraft real quick, I'm hearing. I'm gonna keep it nice and low. Pretty sure they're up high.
Way up past the
Okay, so we should be good. So guys, as you can see, this thing is rock solid. And it's got plenty of ups. But for now, we're just gonna keep it low because we can. Low and clean. And then we'll just do this instead. So guys, this thing is crispy and it completes all the aerobatic maneuvers very nicely and I love it. It's very fun. This is not a 3D plane. The last time I did an F3A plane, everybody was very disappointed that I was not an expert in that somehow, even though I'm not a club flyer. Just showing you some flat stuff. I could make it flatter. Look at this, guys. It's so bizarre. Look at this. Just going in a flat circle, and then we'll just change our mind and do this instead. And then coming down the pipe. We'll do high-speed pass just so you can see it, but we'll do it on the way back. I changed my mind. That's one thing I really like about this plane is it is so relatively easy to fly in time and space. You can really do what you want. And that is really cool. It does sound a little bit like there's a gearbox that's about to blow up, but I think it's just the wheel pants. So if you guys get this, super symmetrical upside down performance, and I love it. It's so easy to do upside down flight with it. I'm barely thinking about it. It's just nuts actually how easy it is. Look how slow I'm going.
It's like the most you've flown upside down
like ever. I don't fly a lot upside down, guys. It's just not my cup of tea. Those clouds are better.
Much.
Need you to go about 2 steps to your left when you have time. Thank you. Perfect. Definitely rattling like crazy. You know what that could be too? It could be the tail wheel. The tail dragger might have a propensity to shake a little bit. Knife edges are like so easy on this plane. It's like you could just fly any direction you want. It is attitude independent. And the AS3X Plus has this thing locked in. Of course, we're running an AR 630, and that's because we needed an end pin. And the end pin is gonna help us do a very tight fuse, guys. 2200 4S, it kind of barely fits in there, but it is really, really fun to fly this plane. And I'm telling you, I don't do F3A, but I would imagine that if you were doing F3A, this would be a great plane for it because it is very easy to fly. It's very easy to replicate a precision maneuver. And if it makes me look good, just imagine what it would make you look like if you're actually an F3A pilot. Now, the 50C pack does give us a little bit more punch. Earlier today in the fog, we were flying with a 30C China Hobby Lines pack, and it had an XT60 on it. And it just didn't quite have, at 30C, the oomph that we're getting on this 50C. And I'll demonstrate one of the times when that's really handy is, let's suppose you're just kind of tooling along, nothing crazy. I'll put some flaps down, really slow it down. That's full landing flaps there as we configured. And you want to punch out of this. That 50C helps. It makes it a lot easier to get out of a maneuver because you've got the juice to do it, right? Now, if you do that with the 30C from China Hobby Lines, you may not quite make it out of the maneuver. I'm not saying that you couldn't do it. It's just gonna be a lot more cringeworthy, let's say. I hear the manned aircraft again. Not sure exactly where it is. I'm gonna have to spot that camera crew. If you can just keep filming the plane, I'll look. Okay. He's way off, but
yeah, he's gonna be a long ways away.
Whenever we hear the echoes, guys, you gotta respect manned aircraft. I don't wanna be on the news for stupid reasons, like crashing into a manned aircraft would be about the stupidest thing you could do in RC, because at the end of the day, it is our responsibility to yield to manned aircraft, not just out of obligation, but because there's human beings and stuff involved. One of the ways you can really enjoy the hobby is not crashing into manned aircraft. By the way, I gotta really give it. This thing is very fun to fly. It is very easy to fly, and yet it does all the things I want to do. And then it corrects so fast, guys. That was out of throttle on that stall correction out of that snap roll. It's very long though, and I've noticed that about F3A flyers, is that they're so long that sometimes it's a little hard to do the pitch access thrilling snap rolls. We call them cornholes. And also the soft tires on this make for really nice landings. I'm gonna show you one next. You good, camera crew? Mm-hmm. Now we do have thrust reverse. I'm just gonna see if I can get a nice, beautiful, greasy landing. And yeah, look how short that runway is, guys. That's nothing. You could easily fly this off a basketball court. In fact, why don't we do that real quick? We'll turn around here. This is 37 feet wide by about 47 feet deep or so. We'll see if we can get off the ground, take off flaps here. Should be no problem. Yep, we're totally up. Now let's see if we can land it. Full landing flaps. We're just gonna bring it into a nice little curly Q. And I'm gonna be into, and good roll authority still, by the way, folks, with those flap-ons, we're doing great. I wanna see if I can get it on the runway just to show you guys what you're dealing with. Hang it from the prop, there it is. Oh yeah, no problem, guys. Really easy, actually. It was not bad. I do feel like I might have touched the blades of grass on the way down. This thing just does everything it does really well. And I'm super surprised by that because it is a Durafly. It's a Hobby King product. And you know, the weird thing is, it actually went together pretty easy too.
It did.
That I did not expect. Okay, so let's do more prettier takeoff here. Looked like a skipping stone that was taking off. Jank it. Jank it. 1 minute left on our 9. You're probably saying, well, how'd you come up with 9 minutes, Brian? Well, we did from our initial flight with the China Hobby Lines pack. We got about 10 minutes of good quality flight time. I wasn't being super easy on it, but I also wasn't being insane.
I think you're pushing it a little more this time, probably.
Oh, yeah. Well, we couldn't see as much before, guys. So one other thing too, I was just gonna talk about, I was thinking about this earlier. If you're ever in a maneuver where you're upside down and you're a newer pilot and you're just getting nervous and you're like, I gotta do something about this. If you're like me and you get anxious as a pilot or other things, just remember, all you have to do is keep doing the thing that's working, okay? So give a little extra elevator. Oh no, I'm gonna crash. No, you're not. Just keep doing what you do until you get to a safe exit. And then you can do what you need to do to get out of it. So for instance, if you feel more comfortable coming out of a loop at the top of the loop, do that thing. Get to the top of the loop though, okay? So let's say you're like, oh man, I'm afraid I'm gonna make a mistake. Well, just point your attitude until you get to a spot where you're a little bit more comfortable. And then do your maneuvering, okay? So now I don't do a ton of upside down flying, so that should give you a testament to how well balanced and nice this plane is, because I just don't do it. Partly because it's not my thing. I'm not a 3D pilot, I'm not a F3A pilot. But I gotta say, if this is the way they always flew, I might kind of get into it, because it's really fun. You can just do all the things you were thinking you wanted to do, and then it just happens. Okay, do your grass ops here. We'll do flaps just so we can slow it down nicely. No reverse thrust this time will be needed, but I want to get to the smoother patch. There we go. And as you can see, absolutely no problems. Now I'm going to go no flaps, forward thrust. I'm going to take off with the grass full up elevator. And here we go. Just get it in the air, get it flying, and there she goes. Absolutely no problem. Let's land it right here. And with reverse thrust, midair, you can put it right in the spot you want, which is super fun. I gotta say, the reverse thrust, you do have to be below 50%, it would appear, but it doesn't do like the Predator ESCs or the Beetlejuice ESCs do, because those things will leave you high and dry thinking you're gonna get thrust reverse, and then it never happens, and you're like shooting out, looking like a fool, and that's very frustrating, okay? Looking like a fool and shooting out. Okay, so just to be clear, we are at past our timer by a long ways, and so I figured it'd be a good time to go out and do crazy things. Try to get a couple snap rolls and just really bleed that power off, guys. These smart packs, they give and keep giving. They eventually stop giving, but so far, I'm actually just trying to burn out the battery. And we are at 2 minutes and 16 past, so actually considerably longer flight time than what we had with the China Hobby Lines pack. So guys, at the end of the day, are the Spectrum Smart Packs worth the premium? I guess, to be honest with you, it's gonna depend on what you're doing with it. I think they're really good in prop-driven planes, and they do a great job of self-balancing and auto-discharging. Is it always gonna be worth it though? That's the big question mark, okay? Is it always worth it to have the Smart Pack? And the answer to that question is, it totally depends on what you're doing with your planes, right? Okay? And if you're flying them to the limit and you want them to auto balance as you're doing it, and then you decide to do the stupidest tricks that you can do while the battery's low, then you might really like Smart Packs, because that's what I do. I wait till the battery is almost dead, and then I do stupid things, okay? Right?
There's an eagle above you.
Oh, really? Holy cow. Okay, let's go fly with the eagles. Fly like an eagle. There it is. That bird could eat this plane.
I would.
I hope you got it.
I did.
I was trying to like specifically not actually
not
interfere with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still got some juice left.
That's crazy.
Oh, that was awesome, guys. Did you see that landing? It was like full speed land. Okay, we're taking back off because that was cool. Jank it. All right, I want to see if I can do some more fun stuff like that again. Okay, take off landing flaps here. Okay. There it is, guys. The 0-inch landing. Throttle cuts on. I don't want to get in a circumstance where we kill this plane because it has been a real blast to work with. I didn't know what I was expecting. Let's just say this, I wasn't expecting much and I was blown out of the water, okay? I love when a plane outdoes my expectations, but make no mistake, since I'm not an F3A flyer, I don't really have an expectation. So I don't mean to misrepresent or blow smoke, but I gotta say, I'm really, really into the way this plane flies. It's super fun. And I don't know if it's partly just the fact that it's starting to get warm out. I almost don't need this coat, which is a great problem to have because it's almost spring in central Iowa. Have I tempted fate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's almost spring in Iowa, but we're not quite there. We probably have a good snowstorm or two left.
Oh, yeah.
We've got the damn gift shop getting ready to go. We've got the damn runway. It's going to be sitting there for a little while longer because we got to build the building that necessitates the damn gift shop road or the damn runway. But we're just working through all these big challenging hurdles on Brian Phillips RC. I want you to know that behind the scenes, we're working like crazy to make the absolute best content we can. And we hope that if you're brand new to the hobby, we're answering some of your tough questions, getting you up to speed on the technical jargon and helping to prevent you from being a one and done. That would be somebody who buys the wrong plane at the wrong time for the wrong reasons, crashes and then quits, okay? And on the other hand, if you're just coming back to the hobby, we hope we're getting you back up to speed as quick and painlessly as possible. Yes, I understand our videos are long, but there's a lot to squeeze into a tight hole, which most of us appreciate. Durafly Arcus, the Carbon Arcus, made of foam. Kind of a strange name. But that's okay because there is some carbon on the wings, as you can see the carbon fiber. And yes, the flight times on a 2200 4S are incredible for this plane. I highly recommend the 630 in this application. If you don't have a 630, you got a 637T, you could do that. AS3X Plus is second to none. I haven't even touched the knob. I've got 0 clicks of trim, just take my word for it because of the glare. This plane really outdid itself. The build was easier than we thought. The flight's way easier than I thought it was gonna be, and it's been really fun, okay? So at the end of the day, I like a plane that's easy to fly. I like a plane that I can fly that makes me look like a better pilot, okay? That's not just because we film it and put it on YouTube for the world to scrutinize, but it also comes from a place of, I wanna feel like I'm having success. That doesn't mean that every plane I fly has to be easy, but I'm gonna tell you this, if you are newer to the hobby or you're just improving in your skills, it's always a better idea to go with a plane that's easier to fly. You're gonna be able to push the limits more and still find success. And that's gonna help stretch you as a pilot. If you're flying a really difficult to fly plane, my experience has been, you don't push the limits, you're up in the air, tail between your legs, down, tail between your legs, and just really, it's not a fun experience. You end up really not pushing the limits. You end up just in a situation where you're just not getting the most out of it, okay? So get something that's easy to fly, you'll enjoy it and appreciate it more, I promise you will. And if this is your first plane, we've seen worse first planes, but I still probably wouldn't recommend an F3A plane for a first plane, just because they're designed to do formations, you know, tight aerobatic, you know, maneuvering in a specific series of events, okay? That's not necessarily what you're gonna do as a beginner pilot. You're gonna take off, go around, and when you get your heart attack under control from realization that you're flying that thing and it's your responsibility to get back to the ground and your battery's almost dead and you're like, I gotta land it now, right? Right? Yeah, land it.
Right.
This is not that hard to land, but there's easier. There's more forgiving, okay? But this is not bad.
For sure.
You can make a way worse choice.
Right. But second, third.
Oh, second, third, for sure.
Yeah.
And if you're wanting something that's sort of like 3D-esque, yeah, you can do it. But I'm gonna tell you this, I mix up, because I'm not an F3A pilot, with 3D planes. They're not the same thing, okay? You can sport fly an F3A plane more than you can 3D fly an F3A plane. And you're probably thinking to yourself, but it looked like a lot of 3D stuff you were doing up there. Yeah, that's probably just because I don't know how to do F3A, okay? So we try not to pretend to be things we aren't on this channel, which is part of the reason why we review helicopters that are easy to fly, and we have to listen to the awesome helicopter pilots get all upset and butthurt that I'm not better and more skilled. Please, take my word for it. We just need more people flying them. That's how we find success in this hobby. Even if I get 10,000 people interested in this hobby to fly a helicopter and never learn to actually fly a helicopter, we have succeeded over having 10,000 people watching YouTube videos of some other guy doing it.
Right.
I hope that makes sense, and I hope you guys see the heart at this argument. And yes, there's the plane right there.
Oh,
look,
yeah, he's right over there.
I told you he was close, but he wasn't there.
That's not who we were hearing earlier.
No, that's a different plane. So anyway, guys, flying in airspace, always yield demand aircraft 100% of the time, every single time. Don't push the limits. Remember, there's somebody's loved one up there. Be careful. Our hearts go out to these people that are being crashed in planes lately. It sucks to hear about, you know, crashing into helicopters and American Airlines and all these kids that are dying. It's just terrible. But at the same time, guys, just remember, terrible things always going to happen. Let's make the best of what we got. The beer truck's right around the corner waiting to take you out. So you might as well get this Carbon Arcus and enjoy your limited number of days before it gets you. And it might not be a beer truck. It might be like a Huey that's like flying down the Hudson, jumping in front of you. I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to make light of these people that lost their lives and these families that had their lives crushed, because that's terrible. But at the end of the day, here on Brian Phillips RC, we want to brighten your day and not be a huge downers, okay? What's a huge downer? Somebody that waits 5, 6, 10, 15 years to do something that could be the most fulfilling hobby they've ever had in their life. And that's why we're here to encourage you. We want to get you out of the chair and into the air by giving you the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. And this Carbon Arcus is great. You know, it's been a long time since we worked with Hobby King. We were doing Hobby King stuff back when we started this channel.
Yeah, long time ago.
And I literally had to build a connector. We're talking about negatives here on Brian Phillips RC too. We don't just do puff pieces like some of our competitors. Watch this. You guys want to see something crazy? Watch this. I literally broke the XT60 trying to plug in my wrong connector. Yeah, that's my fault. IC3 broke the connector. So what did I do? I went downstairs to my stash of Hobby King connectors and I built an adapter so that I could plug in an XT60 to the XT60 that I broke, okay? Now, rule of thumb is when you break something on an airplane, it's usually a good idea to go ahead and replace it. But I went downstairs and I built myself this little adapter. Yeah, IC3s are better. EC3s suck. I hate working with them. They're terrible. XT60s are actually quite easy to work with. This is the first plane ever that I've broken an XT60 trying to cram an IC3 into. So I repent to the connector gods of RC. I shouldn't do that, but still, you know,
You're gonna do it
we
next
serve
time.
a real God,
That's
guys.
fine.
So anyway, here on Brian Phillips RC, sometimes we break crap. It's embarrassing. We're trying to make light of that. Don't take me too seriously. I certainly don't. At the end of the day, we do love this hobby, and we're seriously making huge investments. We hope you guys can see it. With this aerodrome we're trying to build, we keep coming back to this. It comes up in conversation because it's heavy on our hearts right now. This plane is going to help us do these things because crazy things are what crazy people do, and you're helping us do it. So thank you for helping us. If you want to help us buy these planes from the links, it doesn't cost you any more, but then they pay small commissions. I don't care if you buy this one or if you buy some other 3D plane, or if you buy the J3 Cub, or you buy a Carbon Cub SS, or you buy a T28. It doesn't matter to me which one you want. We just want to help you make sure what you get is what you thought you were going to get, because China lies about what you want. They say, oh, first time, yeah, you need this F-18. No, you don't.
No.
Wrong. Totally wrong. We're going to help you guys understand the difference between marketing and reality. And then we're going to help you put those pieces of the puzzle together. We're going to help you understand the terminology and how to literally take it out of the box and get it flying just like that as a non-expert pilot, okay? Which I'm not, okay? Just because I do it a bunch on camera doesn't mean I'm that good at it, okay? I go to these events and like I'm nothing like these professionals that are out there. They're really good.
We're like 6.
Yeah, exactly. Those 6-year-old professionals. That's right. If you've ever been to Joe Knoll, you'll understand. So that being said, Durafly, good job. Hobby King, thanks for stepping up the game It's cool. And we're proud to be working with this product. I mean, I was afraid that it was going to be another, you know, like Dynamesh sort of thing. And really, to be honest, it's been great.
Yeah.
So with the geese in the background yelling at me to go eat lunch, I suppose I will comply. Because at the end of the day, we're so glad that you guys are with us, and we're so glad that these companies are really doing a good job. Because there's a million ways you can make a buck in this world. Building foam airplanes is one of the hardest, okay? So you're crazy if you do it. But the people that do a good job of it, we want to reward them. And we love that we're part of that small piece of the puzzle that helps get you guys flying and helps increase interest. So if you guys enjoyed the video, if we answered your questions, or if we got you out of the chair and into the air, leave it in the comments below. Smash the like button, click the bell for notifications when you do subscribe. And if you want to support us, buy from the links in the video description below. If you don't like this plane, you still want to support us, we have a bunch of other ways you can do it. 4 of which I'll list here. YouTube members, thanks for being members. YouTube super thanks, one-time donations, a couple of bucks, $5, whatever it is you feel like. And then membership through Patreon is a monthly members thing. That does give you a little bit easier access to me, but we don't list it so the people overseas don't have to pay VAT, okay? That's value-added tax. If you're in America, you probably don't know what that is, look it up. And then also we have PayPal for one-time donations. But all those 4 things, we only do that because people have been begging for years. We said no for years because I was like, I don't want a Patreon begging site. We only do it because we know not everybody is allowed to buy another plane because their wife has threatened to leave them in the backyard somewhere, okay? We get it. You could always have UPS deliver it to the workplace. Just saying, right?
Sure. You can try that.
Just leave it there. I remember one time, sorry, side note, Brian Phillips story time. One time, my friend got an airplane and his wife wasn't so thrilled about it, so he made me hang on to it. Do you remember that?
Really?
Yeah, I can't tell you who it was.
Oh. Well, I can narrow that down pretty quick.
You can narrow it down, but I don't want the world to narrow it down.
That's fine.
Because this person's wife is probably not watching,
Probably
but it's okay.
not.
But you know who it is.
Aren't.
It's my favorite Latin.
I'm sure I do.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. I don't want to give too many details.
A long time ago.
That was totally a long time ago. He was like, hey, hang on to this for me for a while. I can't even do the accent right now because that could be a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this, call me and tell me, thanks for not outing me, Brian. Later, things got smoothed over. It was fine. He crashed like 4 other planes. So then he just snuck that one downstairs. It worked out great.
Somebody said that they only buy all the same color planes because their wife doesn't know the difference. So if they're all blue, she's like they're all blue planes.
That's hilarious. Okay, so rattle can.
There you go.
That's how you do it. So, but all joking aside, guys, the best way to do it is pick a wife that's going to support you in the things you love. And I'm going to tell you this. There's something about having a hobby that's not only expensive and completely useless. You can go out and come back with a lot less money. Oh wait, that's shooting guns.
Yeah,
because
that.
Yeah, that's even more expensive than this. Or flying full scale. Yeah. Way more expensive than this. So at the end of the day, if you guys are looking for like the 5th or 6th most expensive hobby you could possibly pick,
here you go.
Here you go. I mean, it's cheaper than the bar. Lower consequences.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things you can do in life, but I'm going to tell you this. If you're just sitting on the sidelines, get off the sidelines. There has never been an easier time in history to learn to fly because we have things like SAFE, okay? Sensor assisted flight envelope, where it just auto levels the plane. And we will help you set up a plane so that you can literally turn that on virtually any plane we do nowadays, okay? So that doesn't mean that you can't stall a plane or crash into a tree or a house or your head.
Well, I mean, duck.
Or make dumb decisions to get cut up by the blades and stuff, but we are gonna teach you as much as we can teach you, and you can make application. We're not the nanny of the world. We're just gonna help you guys. Because, you know, at the end of the day, guys don't like asking for help. Most guys. I ask for help like all the time. I don't care. I have zero pride in that regard. That's how I've learned a lot. But the thing is, most people don't like doing that. So we're here to help. You can do it in the privacy of your own bathroom, okay? Nobody's gonna know what was happening. They'll just assume you took a 3-hour dump. Right? Yeah. Who needs YouTube Shorts when you got Brian Phillips RC? You just like 2 videos per dump, right?
Right.
Durafly. Aren't you glad you work with Brian Phillips RC? Okay, hopefully we answered all your questions. Come back for more. Seriously, not sure what order you're seeing these flights in, but I'm going to tell you this. I did personally very much appreciate the way that this flew with a little tiny bit of kick that we got from the 50C. Is it worth the premium? Probably not if it was just for this plane, because the China Hobby Line battery is quite a bit cheaper. And I just happened to break that XT60, which is very uncommon. The lead is pulled really short, so it's just kind of hard to get the angle, and it just popped that plastic. Like I said, the first time I've done that in a long time. I've stretched them before. I've kind of had to open up the pedals a little bit with a Phillips screwdriver. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, just watch longer. You'll see me do it eventually. But it's a great plane. I think you'll enjoy it. And we have so much more right around the corners, so stay tuned. Oh, by the way, if you don't like this plane, you want to see something else, check out bprc.me. That's Brian Phillips RC if you want to go to the full length, or you could just go to bprc.me, and that's the short link for our website. When you get there, you can sort by type, brand, or affiliate we worked with, and you can find exactly what you're looking for. You can wet your whistle and decide if you want to buy it, okay? When you do, buy it from the links, you'll support us. Thanks for watching, guys. Come back for more.